Hi everyone, how are you doing? I am Mrs. Nwanibo Blessing. I'm here today to teach you something. But however, how has it been in this COVID season? Hope you've been learning. All right, today we have something special to learn, and I want you to look at the board. We have something here, composition. But what are we learning today? We are learning how to write. We want to learn how to write. But what kind of writing are we learning? We are going to learn letter writing. Is that clear? All right. Now you remember, if you want to communicate to people, to your friends, your family, or people in authority, there is something you must learn how to do. And that is what? Letter writing. But before we go ahead, you remember that we have different types of letters. You've done that in your grade 2. Now this lesson is for those grade 3 to grade 5. So listen, you've done letter before, and today we're looking at different types of letters. We have 3 types of letters. They are informal letter, formal letter, and semi-formal letter. But today we want to look at 2 types of letters, which are the informal letter and the what? Formal letter. I know in your mind right now you'll be thinking, yes, I've learned informal letter before. What is informal letter? Can you think? Okay, let me give you a second to think what informal letter is. All right, let me refresh your mind. Informal letter is a type of letter you write to your what? To your friends. You write this letter to people you know, to your acquaintances. Is that okay? Now you could write this letter to your grandparents, to your parents, to your friends, to your younger ones, and so on and so forth. Then you want to ask again, what is informal letter? Informal letter also is a type of letter you write to people you don't know. Now you write this letter to people what? In authority, people above you. You could write this letter to your director in school, to your principal, to your head teacher, to your teacher. But when writing these letters, remember you have to follow a laid down what? Rules. Is that okay? All right. Those in grade 3, can you hear me? Are you listening? Grade 4, are we there? And grade 5. This letter writing is very important because you'll be meeting this topic in your exams, especially for those in grade 5. For those in grade 3 and 4, this is preparing you for your what? Exams. And funny enough, do you know you want to write international exams like IELTS? You need this also to learn. All right, let's go ahead. Now, when we talk about informal letter, I said is a type of letter you write to someone you know. But what are those things you need to note when writing these letters? All right, number 1, you have to note that you can use contractions when writing what? Informal letter. I know some of you want to ask. Who want to ask me that question? What do I mean by contractions? Now, the plural form is what? Contraction. Why the singular form is what? Contraction. Who can remember what contraction is? However, I'm going to remind you. Now, contraction, these are words that what? You omit a particular what? Letter and then replace with an apostrophe. I said they are words that you omit a particular letter and then replace with what? An apostrophe. For instance, I have what? Didn't. When writing informal letter, because I'm using a relaxed tone, I'm using a chattier tone. Remember, you're writing to your friend, to people you're familiar with. You can use contraction. Didn't, hasn't, haven't, couldn't, shouldn't, and so on and so forth. Now, this is a verb. I remove the what? The O, and then replace with an apostrophe. But when writing formal letter, what will happen? You don't use what? Contraction. Instead of writing didn't, what do you write? You write what? Did not. So now, you see, you're writing it in what? In full. It's no more one word, but you're using the 2 words. The reason is because formal letter is an official what? Letter. So you're careful when writing. Second, we're going to note here is what? Idioms. When writing informal letter, you can also use your idiomatic what? Expressions. How many of you remember idiomatic expression? Now, these are words that you use that entirely mean different things from what you're talking about. For instance, when I say, hit the sack, who can tell me what that means? I know you. Some of you in grade 5 should know this. It means to jump into your bed. Exactly. So when I'm writing to my friend, I can also use what? Idiomatic what? Expression. But when I'm writing to someone in authority, to a company, I'm seeking for a job, I don't need to use what? Idioms. Not at all. You are not allowed to use idioms when writing what? Your formal letters. Next we're going to note is what? Phrasal what? Verbs. I know you want to ask, Mrs. Blessing, what do you mean by phrasal verb? Now, phrasal verbs are verbs that goes with what? Preposition. They're a little bit tricky, but don't worry. You get to learn it. Now look up. I have find out. Find here is the verb, and out is the preposition. So now, I want to find out something. I'm writing and I needed to look for something. While writing formal letter, sweetheart, you don't use what? Phrasal verb. You will use longer words like discover. Instead of using find out, you say discover. The next again, we have go up. When you say go up, it means to increase. So you could use this when writing what? Informal letter, but when writing formal letters, you use longer words like I said. You don't use go up again, you use what? Increase. Is that clear? Remember I've said 3 things. What are they? One is what? Informal letter goes with contractions, idiomatic expressions, phrasal verbs, while formal letters, when writing, you don't use what? Contractions, no idioms, and no phrasal verbs. All right, the next we're going to look at is what? Imperatives. Let's look at this. What are imperative? Now, imperative are words that you use to issue what? Command, request. Is that clear? You remember when you say stand up. Most times our parents use what? Imperatives. Is that okay? So when I give a command, sit down. Your teachers also use that. Can you please be quiet? These are what? Imperative, because I'm asking for something or making what? A command. All right. So let's look at this. Send it soon. Send it soon. Is like a command. Send it soon. It could be a request. It could be a command. So I can use imperative when writing my informal letter, but when writing formal letter, I don't need to use my imperative. Rather, I will use more complex words, but polite. You may send it at your earliest what? Convenience. You may send it at your earliest what? Convenience. I am more polite, but actually it's a longer what? Word. It's a complex sentence. So I said, you can use imperative when writing informal letter, but no imperative when writing what? Formal letter. Hope you're getting what I'm saying. Am I too fast, children? Okay, just be attentive. All right, let's look at these words. When writing informal letter, I could use words like very, totally, really. My goodness, this is totally surprising. But was it very serious? Yeah, I could use these words. But I'm careful. Like I said, you use serious language when writing your words. Formal letter. Here you come. You said, I strongly believe. Are you listening? You don't use words like totally. No. You say, I strongly believe that my request will be what? Accepted. Is that clear? So remember I said you could use these words for informal letters, but no, for what? Formal letters. I said you could use this for informal letters rather, but strongly for formal letters. All right, let's look at something again. Most of us like to use this. To top it all off, or on top of it all. Now, these are more simpler words to use with your acquaintances, to use with people you know. On top of it all, what do you mean? What do you want me to do? You could use that, especially when you are starting what? A paragraph for informal letter. But when starting a paragraph for formal letter, you are careful. You could use this word, furthermore. I said what? Furthermore. Next, you could use moreover, however. Secondly. Is that clear? But here you could use to top it all off, on top of it all. But for this letter, you use furthermore or moreover. We're looking at something again, this you will like. Most of us like to use the word TV. We say TV, ETC. Is that okay? Now, these are abbreviation. When I say TV, these are what? Abbreviations that I'm using. ECT is an abbreviation of what? Etc. what? Etc. So now, but when writing your formal letters, you're careful. You don't use abbreviations. No, 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 no. They are not what? Allowed. Those in grade 3, are you listening? Should I start calling your names? Joshua, are you here? Hope you're listening. All right, listen now. I said you could use what? Abbreviations when writing what? Informal letter. But no abbreviation when writing your formal letter. You write your word in full. For instance, television. Television is in full. It's not abbreviated. Is that clear? How many points have I listed? 1. Contractions are allowed. Idioms are allowed. Phrasal verbs allowed. Imperatives allowed. Very, totally, really. These are words that you could also use. No abbreviations are allowed here also. And then no abbreviations here. Next, we want to look at the next point. I have exclamation. How many of you remember your exclamation? Wow, hooray, beautiful. Now, these are words you can use when writing what? Informal letter. You can use your what? Your exclamation point. You can use this. But funny enough, when you're writing formal letter, you don't need what? Your exclamation points. The exclamation marks are not what? Needed when writing what? Formal letters. So you're careful. Because if I'm going to be your examiner or your marker who is marking your script, if you use exclamation points, I'm going to mark you down. And if you use contractions when writing formal letter, I will still mark you down. So I said no exclamation point when writing what? Formal letter. Now look at this word. Most of us would like to use this word. A lot, right? I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of hobbies. Now I can use the word a lot when writing my informal letter. But when writing formal letter again, you don't use words like a lot, but you use words like what? Much, many. I have many friends. So this is more serious than this. Is that clear? Now the last one we want to look at here when writing our informal letter is the use of what? Non-Latin words. Now, non-Latin words, most English words are gotten from what? Latin words. So for those who speak Spanish, French, Germany, and so on and so forth, these words are gotten from Latin words. So when writing, because you're in a relaxed state, what you use normal or common words. Don't use serious words that has or originated from Latin when writing your informal letter. But for formal letter, you use Latin-based words. Most of our English words are gotten from Latin-based what? Words. Is that clear? So you can use Latin-based words when writing informal letters. Is that clear, children? All right. I'm still going to ask you questions. What are the things you should note when writing informal letters? Who can answer? Or, oh, I know you want to answer because you're seeing the board. But don't worry, I'm going to give you an assignment. You make a video of yourself, send it to me, and tell me the difference between formal letters and informal letters. Is that clear? So with this, I'm sure you can write letter, right? You can write two kinds of letters telling me that these are the things to observe when I'm writing my informal letters and formal letters. All right. I think this is where we'll come to the end of this lesson. But remember, in our next class, we are going to be looking at the set rules. You know, there are laid down rules you need to note when writing formal and informal letter, like your addresses. Your address, you check your address, your introduction, the body of the letter, the closure, and all that. So in our next class, we're going to look at all that. So thank you so much, grade 3. I love you. I've missed you so much. I know you're wondering, where has Mrs. Nwanibo been? Don't worry, I'm back. Grade 4, guys, are you there? Ebube, Chimobi, I know you're there. Barry and Brian, are you people there? Only say grade 5. All right, see you guys in our next class. Love you all. Have a great day and keep staying safe.